kita akan ambil masa selama sejam ataupun 40 minit untuk revision atau discussion, dan di akhir kelas ni saya akan buat quiz. Okey, quiz. Quiz selama 30 minit. So harapnya pelajar alert lah. So quiz tu adalah berkaitan dengan chapter 2, heat transfer. So sambil-sambil maksudnya persediaan sebelum test lah juga, kita boleh buat latihan. Alright, so kita akan buat revision dan kita akan buat quiz pada akhir kelas ini. Alright, Afika. Okay, Afika Ahmad Imran. Okay, saya rasa tak ada lagi lah
Doktor, saya Doktor Zaris Salina.
Zaris Zaris. Okay. Okay, so sebelum kita mula, suka saya ingatkan lagi reminder, test esok, esok malam, test tomorrow night 27 April from 8:15 bermula 8:15. Okay, okay, test. Test 27 April from 8:15 PM. So the schedule is 8:15 to 8:30. You attendance by declaration form, attendance and download question. Okay, and then 8:30 to 10, answer the question. So it is 1 hour and 30 minutes because we have 3 questions. So one question is expected 30 minutes. And then for submission is from 10 to 10:15. So 15 minutes for submission. So by hook or by crook, if by 10 o'clock you cannot finish, or please stop and then prepare to scan and submit, because I prepare only 15 minutes. I believe 15 minutes is enough. For scan, maybe 5 minutes. To upload in 10 minutes. Alright. And then project. So about project, I'm very sorry. Honestly, I'm still designing the question. So hopefully by this week, I can finalize the project instruction. Okay, so I already contact other lecturers to get some input. How is the best way to make the project? However, I think it's still okay because our project will consist of from maybe air conditioning, aircon, and then electrical, and also maybe water supply. So we still didn't learn this yet. So I think it's okay if I can give this by this week for your revision, and we continue the week after mid semester break. Okay, so please stay alert, and I will give the instruction soon. Okay, by handout, and also if possible by videos also. Okay. Alright, let's do some revision. So as I mentioned before, chapter 3 ventilation is included in test. Okay, termasuk dalam test. Okay, by the way, suara saya clear ke? Sebab saya menggunakan external mic kali ni. Saya menggunakan mikrofon luar.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, chapter 3, what you have to know is basically about, if you already see the video, is okay. Maybe you have the clue. Awak mungkin ada clue sikit. So chapter 3 kita ada 3 sebenarnya. Indoor air quality, natural ventilation, and mechanical ventilation. And plus inside mechanical ventilation, we will learn about briefly about air conditioning system. Okay, so hopefully you can do revision between today or tomorrow. Okay, evening, these two lah. Okay, I go through briefly about indoor air quality. Okay, so as I mentioned before, as always I mention that we as a human, we need a building, okay, to as envelope for working for tempat perlindungan, okay. But when we live in the building, what we want to do is to make sure we have a comfortable life, comfortable and healthy. Okay? We want to be comfortable and healthy. Okay. One of factor that can make we can ensure we are healthy inside a building is the air quality of it, the air quality of indoor air. Okay, the quality of indoor air. It will affect your healthy. Okay, therefore we need to make sure the IAQ or indoor air quality is very good to make sure it will not bring side effect to us, because what, normally we will stay for longer time. You can try to calculate how many hours you stay in a building. Okay, more than 8 hours, right, per day, or in specific room maybe more than 5 hours. So if you exposed to not good or polluted air for a long time, it will affect your mental of your skin. For example, maybe some irritation, maybe the air have some toxic. So we need a good indoor air quality. That's number one. Okay, to provide good indoor quality, of course, we need to treat the air. Okay, we need to treat the air, and also we need a good ventilation. Okay, again, to have a good indoor air quality, we need to treat the air, and also we need to remove the pollutants. Okay, to have a good uh, ventilation. Okay, good ventilation. Okay, meanwhile, ventilation. The ventilation itself we can obtain by two methods: natural ventilation or mechanical ventilation. Right? Okay, so you know that you can understand the purpose of ventilation. Okay, to provide good indoor air quality. Okay, so today we will go to natural ventilation first. Okay, the importance of ventilation, hopefully you can check in this slide. Okay, firstly, to maintain thermal comfort, as I mentioned before, to control thermal comfort is related to indoor air temperature and relative humidity. And then number two, to provide fresh air, okay, for your health. To And then lastly, additional function of the ventilation is it can cool the building mass and interior space. Okay, ventilation, pengudaraan untuk thermal comfort, untuk fresh air, dan juga pada masa sama, jika udara, if the air flow towards the building structure, it can remove or it can release some heat. Okay, some heat can be removed by ventilation. Therefore, it can be used for cool the building mass. Okay. Okay. Indoor air quality. So indoor air quality normally is caused by indoor air pollutants. So it can be odors, irritants, toxic particulate substance, biological contaminants, radon gas, or others parameters that we always check in IQ is CO2 level, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and then maybe uh, PM, particulate matters, suspended particulate matters, PM10, particulate matter 2.5, PM 1.0. All right, what else? VOC level, okay, VOC level like this, uh, and there are many. So indoor IAQ,
Huh?
only
Baik.
yes. Ada persoalan ke, Nurul Izzati? Okay. Okay, alright. So if I'm not mistaken, saya ada sebelum ni ada simpan sikit lah. Kejap tengok ada tak. Um, sorry. Kejap saya cari. Saya ada simpan guideline tu. Section tutorial test. Sekejap mana saya simpan ni? Ni ke? Ni ke? Ni ke? Tak ingat lah. Okay, sekejap. Saya cari tu. MLA section. Right. Okay. You already know. Okay, maaf Okay, alright, Andy. This one. So, we are talking about indoor air quality, which caused by indoor air contaminants. So, every indoor air contaminants ataupun parameters ada dia punya limit dia. Okay, contoh CO2 ada limit dia, VOC, volatile organic compounds, ada limit dia. So contoh this by Dodge Malaysia. So if you interested to observe level of pollutants, maybe you can purchase some sensor lah. Okay, normally okay, let's see, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide recommended is less than 1000 ppm particle per million. P is particle per million. Okay, what is normal outdoors CO2 level, carbon dioxide? If you have a sensor, some lab have sensor. Normal outdoors is around 400 to 500. Okay, normal. If using natural ventilation, maybe 500s. Okay. Then, because of human activity and human respiration and some equipment, the indoor CO2 levels may slightly increase, slightly higher than external. But we have to control this to be less than 1000. Okay, because more than 1000, it will affect health. For example, feel tired, dizzy. For example, if exposed to more than 3000 ppm CO2 for more than 5 hours, then maybe the person become nauseous, become dizzy, pening kepala semua. Okay. So dia juga adalah penyebab kepada sick building syndrome, penyakit dalam bangunan lah. Okay, dia ada lagi banyak contoh VOC ya. VOC is toxic ya. So normally at paint ataupun dekat benda-benda yang ada keluarkan bau, smell, odors. For example, cat ataupun bahan-bahan plastik ataupun pewangi-pewangi, tu ada some of it as VOC. Nanti kita lihat VOC ni apa. Dan banyak lagi lah. So I boleh copy sini. Mungkin ni daripada Dodge Malaysia. So saya dapat daripada masa semalam ada ceramah daripada sinilah. Okay. Boleh pergi ke website ni. Alright. Then okay, let's continue. Okay, kita lihat main categories lah. Odors, irritants and so on. So odors is unpleasant smell. Okay. And then if too much odors can be from human, can be from groom product, copy machine and so on. So if too much odors, we will feel not very comfortable. And therefore, one of the solution is by increase outdoor air supply. We need a fresh air supply. In the same time, the internal air should be removed. And then irritants. Okay, irritants symptoms: itching, burning eyes, sneezing, coughing, dry nose and sore throat and so on. Okay, most irritants present of particle and gas dispersal. So normally small particles. So particulate matters. Okay, particulate matters. So depend on the size, some of the particulate can masuk, can go into our nose, eyes, and so on. So one of the particles is a VOC, which is chemical containing carbon molecules that are volatile. So gas lah. So toxic, chemical gas. Okay, that is not healthy for our health. Okay, it can evaporate, which is volatile. Okay. So from material surface, gas or evaporate from material surface at room temperature. Okay, frequently found in new building because of the paint, 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 ataupun daripada perabot, furniture, ataupun daripada perfume, some perfume. Okay. Problems can be reduced by increased outdoors air supply, using filters, and electric cleanliness. And then we have another thing is toxic particulate substance. Some of material have a toxic particulate substance, such as previously the introduction of asbestos. So asbestos already being banned worldwide. Sepatutnya asbestos dah tak digunakan lagi di dunia ini untuk penggunaan komersial dan juga perumahan lah. Sebab asbestos ni dia ada, it has toxic particulate substance. But however, still in Malaysia, I believe there is still illegally, or I don't know, some of shop or the asbestos product still available. But if you have to be wise enough, awak mesti sedar, you have to be aware that the usage asbestos is cheap, okay? Cheap material, especially cheap construction material, but the effect is to your health. So better to spend slightly more quality material than spend less, but in the long run it will affect our health. So for toxic particulate substance, solution strategies, exhaust. We have to, the first thing is to isolate. If we identify the material, we have to find the source, isolate the source first, because it's very toxic and dangerous. First, isolate the source so far as possible. And then the current air should be exhaust. Okay, perlu dikeluarkan udara tersebut. So contoh dalam rumah, jumpa satu bahan yang berada based on asbestos, kita kena ambil dan buang, kita kena bungkus, buang dan buang dengan cara yang betul lah. The correct way to dispose asbestos. And then in the current air of the house should be removed by exhaust fan, or by using natural ventilation is also okay, as long as we can flush the air out. Okay, so just in case if you find some video how to deal with asbestos in outside in different country, they even use full PPE to remove asbestos. Okay, next, biological contaminants such as bacteria, fungus, virus, algae. Right, so these biological contaminants normally is related to humidity in the building. Okay, therefore we have to control humidity. Okay, because of moisture. So all these things, virus, fungi, it will live at the condition where RH is more than 70%. 70% RH above is the, what can I say, is a good place for them to grow. Okay, mold and so on. So one of the strategies to reduce this biological contaminants is to make sure the RH should be within the recommended, maybe 40 to 65% RH. Okay. And then number 2, exposure to ultraviolet radiation. Yes, recent technology, you can use UV light to kill fungus, virus, and algae, but need to read the instruction, because the usage of UV light, actually we want to know how many times of exposure is required. It's not like you have UV light just 1 second and then remove. It's not. You have to read. We need to find some specification, for example, for fungus, algae, or certain biological contaminants. For this type, how many time of exposure? For this type is how many time of exposure? Okay, because to kill the biological contaminants, we need to expose again the UV light to certain time. Okay, so you need to learn. So similarly, in recent technology for ventilation through ducting, okay, imagine this is ducting of ventilation. Ducting, so the air will flow through the duct, airflow. So recent technology is we can kill the bacteria inside the ducting system. So how they do is that they introduce UV light inside the ducting, okay? But they need to provide for example, they need to expose the air to certain time. Okay, to certain time. How to expose the air to certain time? So they need to provide how many length? Okay, length of the UV light. Okay, maybe length. So when the air travel, it will travel to some time, and then it can be released. So this time is required. How many length is required for the air to be treated? So time is required. Last but not least is radon and soil gas. So radon and soil gas, honestly, I'm not so familiar. However, they said it is radon. Some of dangerous gas will release underneath the ground. Okay, so we need to be careful to check whether the ground level, the underground level has some source of pollutants or not. Okay. In case of radon, it is radioactive gas that decay rapidly, releasing radiation at each stage, and then colorless, odorless. So we need to prevent. So to prevent this, penetration of below ground space, wall and floor should be both minimized and well sealed. So basically, if there is a ground and this is house, we need to make a very good seal, and then to provide some prevention layers between the ground and the house and the building. If we have no choice but to build the house or building on the uh, polluted ground. Okay, that is basically brief about pollutants, indoor IQ. So what we have to do is to provide to make sure all the contaminants is within the allowable range to control. So there are many strategies. For example, improve ventilation, how to maybe susun atur arrangement of the room, okay, and then to reduce density of people inside the room. There are many. Okay, but to discuss about specific strategies, we have to further check in journal or standards. Okay, second things we have, all right, 45 minutes left, maybe 30 minutes left. Let's look into natural ventilation. Okay, ada siapa-siapa yang nak share? What do you understand about natural ventilation? Dah check, okay. Okay, if I ask, if I want to create question, can you provide some keyword that can represent ataupun that can explain natural ventilation? Okay, from this definition, find the keyword that can represent or explain natural ventilation. Okay, that is my question. So, apakah yang boleh menjadikan keyword kepada fenomena natural ventilation? Maybe you boleh think dalam 5 minit. So kalau you, alright, you boleh jawab ataupun you boleh tulis dekat chat box.
Dulu hawa.
Lulu Hawa. Okay, saya tulis sini lah. Tak apa, kita bagi kita tulis kat situ dulu. Nanti kita combine dalam masa lagi 4 minit lah. Kita try discuss. Okay, untuk memudahkan kita faham, try to find keyword. So we have without using mechanical system. Okay, natural wind. Okay, natural wind. So natural ventilation firstly is without mechanical components. Or systems. Number two, if is natural wind. Okay. And then ada lulu hawa apa? Weathering.
Weathering, betul.
Weathering, lulu hawa. And then we have difference pressure. Okay, good. Difference pressure. Flow of air due to pressure difference. Okay, we have 2 votes. External air. External air. Fresh air from external. Okay, I think you already okay. Very good, very active. So we have several answers. I think it's enough to be discussed. Okay, again,
which is
all right. So basically, I think for me, in my opinion, we can give 2 keywords. Okay. Right. So from all of this, so thank you for your response. I can say that one of keyword is to remove and supply air without mechanical ventilation. Okay, then the process is based on pressure difference. Okay, so without mechanical ventilation, but the process itself is caused by pressure difference. For me, the natural ventilation is ventilation by, number one is actually caused by the pressure difference inside and outside room. Okay. So these 2 keywords I can accept, but for me the most good one is this one, pressure difference. Okay, so natural ventilation is happen due to pressure difference, because as I mentioned in the video, because of the difference of the pressure, then the air can flow. All right, so as I mentioned before, this one, if has a house, okay, to make sure the air can flow inside, we need to make sure pressure outside is bigger than pressure inside. Okay, if pressure outside is equal to pressure inside, so there will be no ventilation. Even though outside air is very strong, but the pressure is the inside room also very strong, and it's create equal, so there will be no ventilation. So this is pressure difference by wind force, right? By wind force. There is another things, pressure difference by temperature. Okay. How pressure difference affect by temperature? So this is related to stack effect. Right. So I mentioned in the video, if stack effect normally happen at the very tall building. Okay? If a tall building with top opening, so tall building and have an opening at the top. So this can create stack effect due to pressure difference. So because as I mentioned before, when the activity happen, the air inside become warm, air become warm. So the warm air, the less density, it will rise up. And then cool air, for example, from outside, will when this cool, warm air rise, so they will leave some empty space, right? I mean, the density is low there, so the heavy air can go inside. So slightly cold air. So the hot air, if we provide some opening at up here, the hot air can be released. Okay. There are some strategies to improve stack ventilation. Okay, so because of the difference, all right, sorry, if I draw like this, okay, so stack effect, okay, some activities happen, so stack effect happen. Imagine stack effect happen here. So this is because of temperature difference. So some country make a research. This stack effect has some wind speed, right? Okay. So they believe that they want to improve the wind speed by increase this apa kita panggil ni lohong tunnel, increase the surface temperature. Dia letak heater, they put heater here, so they make sure this area is hot, where it will make the air here, hot air, we can remove more faster. Okay. When they create the surface temperature higher here, so this temperature and this temperature delta T is very high. So stack effect, when the temperature difference is bigger, so the wind speed will also increase. So they manipulate like that. Okay. And then the best way, okay, limitation. So do you still remember limitation of stack and wind flow? Okay, to know the limitation and benefits, so you need to understand how these two works. Principle of wind driven and stack. So if you understand properly, you will know how to solve the problem. Okay, I hope that is basic information, but what I want to discuss is about this one, to maximize factors. Okay, let's say one more things. Combination of wind and stack. So the best way to use natural ventilation is by combine wind and stack effect. Especially in our hot and humid climate, we cannot depend on stack effect alone, because our temperature different outside and inside is not too big. Maybe, for example, during daytime, external air temperature 36, but internal maybe 29 to 30. So difference is only 6 degrees Celsius. Similarly, at nighttime, outdoor temperature maybe 25, and then internal temperature maybe 28 in case of using natural ventilation, or 27. So nighttime, temperature difference inside and outside is about 3 degrees Celsius. So both of this value is less than 10 degrees Celsius. So if you try to check literature review, previous research, recommended temperature difference for effective stack ventilation. Some of researchers said that the best way is to obtain more or 10 degrees Celsius difference. Then it can be more effective. So where is this place? If you look into Middle East, Okay, Middle East country. So the outside temperature 40 and up to 50, and then internal temperature maybe 30. So they can obtain more than 10 degrees Celsius. Similarly, at night, indoor temperature maybe 20, 25 to 28, but outdoor temperature maybe 15 degrees Celsius during night time. So they have significant temperature difference during daytime and nighttime. So that condition can use stack effect properly. But for our country that has different less, so we need to combine. Some cases, some condition maybe stack effect is effective, and most of the time we depend on wind flow. So wind flow, we will obtain by the lowest opening as possible. We try to obtain uh, the lowest air possible, and then the hot air, especially here when we do some activity, the hot air will rise. But normally hot air is caused by the attic area itself. Okay, so if we have some opening here, the hot air can be released. Okay, now the important things is how to use natural ventilation. All right, my second question is, now due to climate change happen and so on already 2022, so is I just want to get to your opinion, is natural ventilation still relevant in Malaysia? Okay, adakah penggunaan semula jadi masih lagi boleh digunakan dekat Malaysia untuk climate kita ni, hot and humid? Okay. Hot and humid masih lagi tak? Masih nak tanya korang lah. So you boleh nak jawab boleh, nak tulis pun boleh. So boleh respon tak? Rasanya masih lagi boleh tak guna natural ventilation? Ataupun kita dah memang kena guna aircon untuk
Depends what
mendapatkan
place.
comfort?
Boleh lagi.
Boleh lagi ya.
Dengan
Alright, kita baca.
protection of
Adik-adik.
something.
Okay. Ada yang cakap tak, alright. Ada cakap boleh. Then Afika, yes, since also help to reduce electricity. Okay, can use, boleh. Okay, semua sekali setuju natural ventilation masih lagi relevan untuk digunakan, yang mana dia juga dapat mengurangkan electricity. Okay, dia macam ni. Of course, ada orang yang gunakan natural ventilation untuk kurangkan kos. Tapi mereka juga dalam masa yang sama terpaksa tahan atau mengorbankan sedikit rasa comfortable tu. Okay, tapi depends juga. Jika kalau if the comfortable level is too harsh ataupun tidak terlalu bagus sehingga mengganggu buat kerja, susah jugalah. So if you really have to do works, but if the comfortable level will affect your performance, it is better to change ventilation method. Okay, but in case of the comfortable level, you still can bear the level. Okay, and it will affect your performance. So in that case, it is okay. So basically, in my opinion, also we still can use natural ventilation, but we need to find the best way. Okay, the best way to use natural ventilation. Okay, because temperature distribution. Okay, temperature distribution daily temperature distribution is okay. If we do some measurement. If we put some sensor inside the house from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. So 24 hours. So the temperature will, okay, so for example, this is 8 a.m., this is 12, right? 12 a.m., it will reduce until 7, and then sunrise, temperature will increase, and then go down again, right, temperature. So in 24 hours, actually some of the time we can identify the time to use natural ventilation, such as during night time. Okay, during night time we can use natural ventilation, and then maybe somewhere here, okay, somewhere not at the peak temperature, but after that, okay. Uh, but the best way is during here, if no choice, we have to use aircon, critical time, especially in office. Uh, so we need to use aircon. But the rest of the time, evening and night time, we can use natural ventilation. Okay. So recently apa yang saya sedang buat sekarang, baru saja saya pasang alat dekat rumah. So saya try measure natural ventilation. So recent result nanti saya akan share jugalah, result terbaru. So we need to find a way how to use natural ventilation properly. Okay, but beside that, we also need to know how what factor will affect. Okay, so first thing is building orientation and shape. What do you understand about orientation? Okay, tadi tambahan tadi Farul, okay for rural area. So rural area, rumah kampung memang natural ventilation masih lagi boleh sebab sejuk lagi lah. Terutama sekali waktu pagi, waktu tengah hari. Dia sebenarnya masalah dekat rumah rural area ni, especially kalau rumah kampung house, dia sepatutnya selesa sepanjang masa jika rumah tu rumah kayu. Tapi disebabkan penggunaan atap zinc, dia dah counter sikit lah. Okay, dia dah counter sikit. Alright, building orientation is placing of building in the wind sun direction. Okay, alright. So building orientation, we have to make sure the opening of our building can make sure if the best way if is we know where is the prevailing wind in that area. Okay, ni contoh, if example, if you have a piece of land and you want to construct, so then you can decide. But if you don't have a choice, but still you can choose from the selected available house. Maybe you can analyze where is the main prevailing wind, arah angin utama lah pada tempat tersebut. You boleh lihat map lah. So kita ada dua arah angin utama, iaitu apa? Barat daya, timur laut. So tengoklah macam mana kita punya wind speed, north, east, west, south. So kita punya wind macam di area sini je, sama ada ke sini atau ke sana. Ada bulan, some months is go ups in this direction, sometimes is here. So if the opening is perpendicular, or the opening is exposed to the main winds, so normally is okay lah. But some other question is, when we talk about building orientation, we also have sun orientation to the sun. So which one should we focus? Orientation to wind or orientation to sun? Because there is still one of argument in designer. So where should? So the best selection is if you make which is the worst. So if exposed to sun is much more worse for your comfort, so better to make sure orientation is can resist sun pass. Okay. But if the orientation, the solar intensity is not so strong, then and you need natural ventilation, so you can focus orientation on wind or prevailing wind. Okay, boleh understand tak? Can you understand my target? what I'm trying to say. Okay, macam ni lah. So when we say about orientation of building, there are two things to consider: orientation to sun, orientation to wind. I don't know. I don't know. I already informed you or not. Orientation of building, north, east, south, west. So in case of we have two types, this building, and this building, the window is here. Okay, window. Okay, and then and this is also small window lah, as small window. And we have another orientation. This one. Okay. So all this window, north, east, west. So between A and B, okay, and then this is solar, sun pass from here to here. Okay, A and B, which one will absorb much solar radiation inside the house? Rasa-rasanya yang mana? A atau B? Keadaan manakah yang akan absorb more solar? Okay, this is elongated east to west. This is elongated north to south. Okay, mostly said B. Alright. Okay, bijak. Okay, why B? Kepada yang tak faham, yang tak nampak lagi, what is the problem? So orientation the affect because in our daily life, the sun will rise from east and set at west. So the area, okay, the area that facing sun. Oh, sorry. So the area at east and west is the most exposed area to the sun. Okay, you understand? The wall area facing east and west is the most exposed area to the sun daily. So if the wall has window, it makes easier for the hot air or the radiation to infiltrated to the house. If in this condition, so only small wall is exposed to direct solar radiation. Of course, north and south also exposed, but the intensity and the exposure time, and the exposure time and the exposure angle is not as severe as facing east and west. So the best way for in the green building design one of strategies to reduce heat transfer in building is to try to minimize window facing east or west. Okay, but this not mean that you cannot do window. Maybe you can make a window, but you need to provide overhanging. Okay, this doesn't mean you cannot make a windows. You can still make a window, construct a window in that area, but you need to provide some overhanging, okay, overhanging wall, shade, provide some shades. Still okay. If you cannot, if you have no choice, the house is already like that, okay, or you purchase a second house ke. Okay, so faham and then just in case during facing east, okay, morning and evening, which one is more severe solar radiation? Pernah rasa tak solar radiation, panas matahari pagi ke petang yang panas, yang sakit? Petang. Petang. Pagi. Morning. Alright. Okay, pagi, petang. So dia depend kepada orang lah. Tapi sebenarnya dulu pun saya honestly originally saya rasa petang yang macam panas. Okay, tapi bila saya when I measure the data, what I found is the morning solar radiation morning is much more severe. Okay, sebab jika diplot morning punya 8 contoh 8 sampai 6 lah. So morning dia akan naik tinggi tau. Morning punya noon. So morning punya value dia akan lebih tinggi daripada petang. Walaupun petang ni lama, in the evening is much more longer time. But the intensity is lower. But morning, the intensity is higher even though it's a short time. Okay, so what happened during morning exposure, of course it will absorb heat lah. Okay, so then if using aircon, so this time is very peak condition lah. Okay, so but the effect of this one, because the temperature is still low, kita tak rasa sangat lah. Kita dari segi feeling, dari segi macam bahang tu tak rasa sangat sebab temperature masih lagi belum peak. Solar radiation already peak but temperature slightly delay. So kita bila kena direct baru dah sakit, tapi kalau kita berada di tempat yang teduh, kita tak rasa bahang dia. Tapi waktu petang, sebabkan temperature dah mula tinggi, so kita terasa panas tu sebenarnya panas bahang temperature. Tapi dari segi kalau bangunan absorb heat to wall during morning, they absorb much more lah dekat building structure. Petang ni dah sikit lah. Still ada tapi sikit. Okay, saya cerita panjang sangat mengenai solar radiation tapi dia sangat penting lah. And then orientation kepada wind speed. Okay, wind speed. Okay, so issue dia, if the orientation to solar radiation is much more important, so better to focus on that compared to wind speed. But if the solar radiation is not so much affected your design, your house, and you want to maximize natural ventilation, so you can it is recommended to focus on orientation of the opening to the wind speed. Okay, and then shape. Shape will also affect. So as in my previous slide, I don't know if my wind speed, natural ventilation. Okay, shape of the building. Contoh shape macam ni lah. Kalau shape ni sama ada kita boleh create the shape of the building to be a wind catcher, to be a wing wall to catch the wind. Sometimes as my previous research also, I check, I conduct the effect of flat roof and then slope roof and then one roof, partial slope. So one simulation I check. So this one, how is the airflow? If this terrace house like this, how is the airflow, right? So during that time, my research shows that the conventional one is much more better to create some airflow within, because terrace house is rapat-rapat kan. So kita ada tingkap kat bawah ni, we have windows. So which shape of building or shape of roof that will enhance, that can improve ventilation at the window level. So the roof shape effect, akan memberikan ni lah. Tapi ada juga certain setup, certain researcher prefer this one, but it depend on the setup lah. So macam mana they facing each other. But what I say is the roof itself can affect. Okay. And then external element. cross ventilation. I think in my video already have lah. Opening size, control and so on. So apa yang saya nak tanya? So maybe okay. General question. How to improve? How to improve or how to improve natural ventilation in our climate? Or ataupun dekat urban lah. So rasanya dekat negara rumah kita, rumah bandar ke, apa strategi yang boleh dibuat based on these things? Based on this, can you provide some ideas? Okay, maybe I give you 5 minutes. We try to stop at 3:30. Yeah. Okay, 5 minutes, so you can write down or you can share directly. Okay, based on this information, try to think the best way for natural ventilation, to improve natural ventilation. Okay, ada idea? Tak ada idea. Okay, saya cuma nak pesan macam ni lah. In term of practice, I think you can try to fikir-fikirkan. Cuma apa yang saya nak share, what I want to share is the impact of cross ventilation. Okay, the impact of external element, cross ventilation, opening size, control maybe second things lah. So cross ventilation if available is very recommended lah. So cross ventilation dia macam ni macam ni lah, these two. So masuk satu tempat and it can create flush through inside the internal. So it's cross ventilation always better than single sided if possible. So try to create a cross ventilation condition in your house lah. For example, to use night ventilation. Maybe you can use open the windows at from 8 to maybe 9:30 p.m. So maybe 1 to 2 hours only. And then during that time, make sure you have a good cross ventilation. And after that, when the temperature already going down a bit, you can use aircon. Okay, we can say that you pre-cool the indoor air by using natural ventilation first, and then after or certain time, then when you use aircon, the loading will be much more lower. Okay, something like that. And then to get a very good cool air during daytime, if during ventilation during daytime, to get a cool air, so how to get cool air? When the air itself should be shaded. Okay. You can shaded, you can kita boleh letakkan apa? Boleh combine dengan water to create a mist. Okay. So shaded. How to shaded the air? So we can use landscape. You can use landscape. Okay, contoh canopy. The recommended is canopy tree. Canopy tree. Why? Imagine this is a house, and then canopy tree normally is very tall, and it has a big bush. Apa ni? Daun. Ada banyak lah. So canopy tree ni dia tinggi dan dia tak menghalang. It's not obstruct the wind speed. In the same time, it's provide shaded. Okay, and then it's provide slightly slightly humid condition, and it will cool down the airflow. Okay. Meanwhile, the short bushes, short planted, is actually is good for our eyes, good for decoration, but actually it will restrict the airflow. So if your house many small plant trees, make sure it will not make sure it not obstruct your windows, wind flow. Okay, what else? Opening size, of course. If you want to during daytime, the best way to get a good amount of airflow is uh, the size, the bigger, and then it's better. Opening location also need to be considered. Uh, there are many ideas and many uh, concept now. Previously, the question. Originally, they said that cool air. Macam mana nak kisah? Sinilah. Imagine this here has opening. During that time, there is a cool air normally from bottom or low area. From low area is the way to get cool air, and then if the top opening is the way to release hot air. This is also possible, but there is also combination. Combination of this one is also possible. Okay, and then like this. All right, I think that is all. Do you have any question about natural ventilation? So the keyword again, to improve natural ventilation is to create pressure difference. The bigger pressure difference, it will enhance more airflow to the house. Okey, tak ada soalan. Semua jelas saya rasa cukup kot dengan saya punya penerangan hari ini dengan sedikit contoh yang kita bagi dan video yang saya telah berikan. I think it's okay for basic information, and further information how to strategies to improve natural ventilation you can check further in academic writing, academic report, or academic or guideline. We have many, but the thing is we have many information, but not much being implemented. Okay, because nowadays all modern building already ke arah airtight, ke arah airtight building. Why airtight building? Because the orientation, the concept is for fully air conditioned. But yeah, it depends on the current issues and so on. Depending 100% on air conditioning, I think it's not a good way to live in this hot and humid climate. So we have to have a balanced ventilation system. All right, I believe there is no question, right? So can I proceed to another things? Boleh tak?
Boleh doktor.
Boleh saya rasa semua pun dah penat kan, dah pukul 3, 4. Okey, okey saya berhenti sini. Okey, so we boleh check lah untuk sedikit lah revision untuk esok. Alright, then the next thing is about quiz. So you all boleh buka, you all can open author. Soalan tak adalah susah mana. Yang penting you have 30 minutes. You have 30 minutes. Start from 3:30 until 4. So go to individual. Go to author, and then this is section 1. Go to assessment, and then you can go quiz lah. So at 3:30, I will show. Sorry, 3:30 said that date 26 at 3:30. Okay. So the quiz will be available at 3:30 p.m. and will end at 4 p.m. Okay, 3:30 until 4 p.m. Sorry, Sunday pula. Ini 26. Okay. Right, 3:30. Okay, so that's all for now. So hopefully you can ready for quiz. Go to Auto System. So I wish you good luck for tomorrow test. So please wait for my tomorrow. I will update with the instruction, and then also in this week, or hopefully I can provide you with the guideline or instruction for project. And last but not least is selamat bercuti ya minggu depan, dan kepada yang Muslim Happy Idul Fitri. Alright. So that's all for now. Thank you very much for attending for this class. See you again tomorrow. Assalamualaikum and good days everyone.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Terima kasih, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.